Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today my auntie Chandra and I will be showing you guys how to make some delicious and moist flounder fillets. Now what we need is the flounder, of course, and these have no skin or bones on them. They've already been cleaned and washed properly. I also have a little piece of ginger we're going to grate in, some paprika, a little bit of black pepper, and that's my chili powder you're seeing, but you can omit this if you don't want it spicy. And I have some granulated garlic. I also have a piece of lemon on the back there, as well as some salt to taste. Now I do have a few other ingredients I'll be using, but I'll show you them a little later as I use them. First step when making our baked flounder fillets is to grate on all of that ginger onto the flounder fillets. Now if you did not have the fresh ginger like I do today, you can go ahead and use some ginger powder. Now you have to be aware that if you're using the ginger powder though, it's not as strong as using the actual fresh ginger, so you're going to have to use a little more than I'm using. So once you grate it onto the fish, we're going to go ahead and start putting on the other ingredients. Once you've grated on that fresh ginger, it's time to add in the rest of our spices. So at this moment, we're going in with the granulated garlic, and if you wanted to, feel free to use some freshly chopped garlic. The only reason we're not using it today is just because we had the granulated garlic on hand, so we decided to use it. At this point, we're going in with our chili powder, and if you do not like spicy food, you might not want to add the chili powder in because it does give the dish a kick. We're alright with spicy food, so we're adding it in. So make sure you add it in to taste. And as of now, we're going in with paprika, and paprika doesn't really give any spice to the dish. It adds a nice little smoky flavor, so you really want to make sure you add that in. It adds a really good flavor, so don't leave that out. And you're going to go in with some black pepper, and you can use as much or as little as you'd like. Once you've gone on with all of your dried spices, it's time to add in a nice sprinkling of salt. Now as always, salt is to taste, so make sure you use as much or as little as you like according to your preference. And at this point, we're going in with a fresh squeeze of lemon. It's going to give a beautiful tang to the fish, and you really want that nice flavor. Lemon always goes great with seafood. Once you've added on all of those seasonings onto the fish, it's time to chop up a little bit of cilantro. Now, we're using cilantro because that's our preference, but if you wanted to use some parsley, feel free to do that. Or if you wanted to use some thyme, that would give the fish a really nice flavor as well. So we're going to chop this up really finely, and this is going to go onto the fish. And it's not one of the ingredients that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, but it will be in the description box down below with all of the ingredients and the full list of measurements, so make sure to go ahead and check that out. Once you finish chopping up your cilantro, it's time to add it onto the fish and mix up that fish with all of the seasonings and the spices that we added in. You want to make sure to go in with your hands and mix it properly, because if you don't, then all of the seasonings aren't going to be distributed well. After you finish tossing the fish and all of those seasonings and the spices, it's time to put it down on the baking tray. So what we've done is we've added a little bit of olive oil down at the bottom of the baking tray, and now what Auntie Chandra is doing is she is lining that fish up on the bottom of the tray in a single layer. You don't want to stack the fish up on top of each other, because if you do, they're not going to bake properly or evenly. So I also wanted to mention that if you wanted to, you could go ahead and wrap this fish with a little bit of saran wrap and let it marinate in the fridge for about 30 minutes to an hour, but we decided just to start cooking it right away. Once we finished laying that fish down onto the baking tray, we went ahead and sliced up a tomato and half of it onion. Now what these vegetables are going to do is get infused with all of those flavors and the spices that we added onto the fish while it's all baking. Now this step is optional, so you don't have to add on the tomatoes or the onions, or if you wanted to add different vegetables onto the fish, you could definitely do that. Some people might like bell peppers on this, summer squash, zucchini, or any other types of vegetables. Carrots would also be good, but basically we're just going to lay all of these vegetables on top of the fish, and I've had my oven preheating to 400 degrees, and the reason for this high temperature is because, as you guys could have seen, those flounder fillets were very thin, so I want to go ahead and cook them at a high temperature so they roast on the outside and get nice and brown. They're really not going to take a long time to cook. So once I finish adding these vegetables onto the fish, I'm going to stick it at the oven at 400 degrees and let it cook for about 10 to 12 minutes, or just until those fillets get nice and brown and flaky and opaque on the inside. Guys, this is what my fish looked like after exactly 12 minutes of cooking in the oven. At that point, the fish was perfectly flaky and moist on the inside. Now I'm going to be very honest, this is not the best picture that I could have gotten of the fish, but as soon as this fish came out of the oven, everybody was so eager to get some dinner, but I'm telling you guys, this fish was so good. As soon as it came out, everybody dove in, everybody everybody got some dinner, and we sort of messed up the fish, as you guys can see. Not the best picture, but nonetheless, it was perfect. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet, and comment down below and tell me what you guys would like me to make you next. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again very soon.